Well, alrighty, you know what time it is. It's project time. And I am at Lowe's getting material for our next project. And I have to say something real fast. I love my wife to death, but when we bought this house, she was like, oh, it's move-in ready, it's perfect. And as you guys know, I've been doing projects for the last 5 years nonstop. So I guess it was not move-in ready. But anyways, our new project for today is the stairs. As some of you might have seen before, I did the stairs down to the basement, but I have not done the stairs up to the kids' rooms, and they are disgusting. They are covered in carpet, and they're nasty. So we are going to do a little stair makeover. We're going to rip that carpeting out. We're going to put new treads on, new risers on, new skirt board, new rail, and we're also going to redo that handrail here that you see. It's all back in like the 90s, 2000s look, and we're trying to upgrade it to a little bit more of a modern farmhouse type look. So I'm going to go and get some material today, and then I'm going to get home and start demo. Demo is my favorite part, and I'm going to start ripping stuff out and getting going on this thing. So stay tuned. So since I don't have a big rack for hauling long material like Jamie does, I borrowed this thing from Eric, and what it does is it extends the bed of your truck. Well, I didn't want anyone to slam into me, so I took this old koozie and I cut it in half, and I zip taped it on there. Safety first. All right, let's take a look at all that material we got. Yeah, nothing. The Lowe's and Silva had nothing that I needed. They had like 3 treads, but they're all busted up, and none of the material I needed. So I guess I have to go to the one in Franklin. I guess I'll go tomorrow to get that. So what are you gonna do? Remember when I said that the demo would be the fun part? Well, I lied, because this isn't really demo. This is just me pricking my finger 1,000 times. I'm pulling out all these carpet tacks that holds the carpet down. And then I believe Williams Carpet here in Bryson City, North Carolina, they do a great job. And as you can see, he's very thorough because he's got about 20 staples in the mat or the padding underneath, which is impossible to get out. And I don't want to leave them in there because I don't want anything to proud up the other treads. So yeah, so I'm just ripping all these out, getting these staples out, and getting her cleaned up. I'm about halfway done here, but I need to get some junk out of my way, and I think I'm going to eat lunch, so I'll get back at it in a second. Okay, so I got all the carpet tack strips off and all the staples pulled out. Next thing I need to do is I need to clean. And then what I'm going to do is, because we want to stain all this tread and material, is that I need to get rid of that skirt board. It looks like he's got them nailed just on every stud there. So I think he added them after the fact. So I don't think they're nailed down below the treads and the risers. So I think if I can just get those, cut those with a Mighty Fine or something, I can pull these skirt boards out. That's one. And then I'm going to need to get rid of all this material. This is all old flooring that's in the house over here, but Steph hates it, and we're going to try to change that one day too. So we're going to go with a stain that we like in here in hopes that that just goes into the other room at some point. So I'm going to rip out all of this flooring material all around here. I'm going to leave the tile inlay. She likes that. I'm going to rip out the baseboards, this window trim, these other 2 risers or treads here. I'm going to take those away at some point. And I'm also going to get rid of all of this like we talked about. So as you can see, that one came out really easy. I just used the Mighty Fine and cut the nails he had in there and then just slid it right out. Now this one over here, you can see, is all underneath this thing here, the railing. So I need to take all of this out. Now I would like to keep this intact just so I know the angle and everything. So when I redo it with some other material, I can kind of just copycat it. If I can't get it out like that, it is what it is. But I'm going to try to get it all out in one piece by cutting here, here, there, and then just kind of pulling it out. So let's see what happens. I don't think that thing's going anywhere. Look at the size of the bolts old Willie used. As you can see, I got all the skirt boards out. I got the landing material out. I'm not going to take this material out yet just because we still want to step on it, and I'm not going to get to it today. You can see I did pop a tile, but I got extra in the shed, so that's not the end of the world, but I tried to be gentle. Not really. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I need to figure out my rise height. So it looks like right now I think I'm pretty good, because right now I have 7.5 inches, which is good. So whatever material I put down here, I'm going to put on there, so that'll give me the same 7.5. So I'm able to keep that 1x4 material on there, which would be a lot easier because it'll be easier to nail to. We can still use the stairs while I'm waiting to get the material prepped and put on. So I can do that. Now the only thing I do need to look at is this last step is going to be a little bit different, I think. So right now I got 8.5. So when I add my material 3/4, I'm going to have about 7.5 there too. So I think that's going to work out pretty well. Now the only thing I need to look at is that I don't want this material sticking out, because what I'm going to do is I want to be able to put the riser flush there, flush to the top here, and then put my new tread out with the inch overhang here. So what I need to do, unfortunately, is I need to take, and these are in 2 pieces, which is going to be helpful, is I need to take this top piece off, rip this part off underneath here so it's flush here, and then put it back on. And I just got to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 15 times. But if I can get that done today, I'd be super stoked. I got a lot done today. I got most of it prepped. And then I'll get to Lowe's tomorrow to get all my material and then start figuring out how to put it all back together. Ah! So I didn't want to have to measure every single one of these, so I just took a couple measurements and got a rough idea of about how wide they needed to be. And I cut them just a little bit shorter than that because I had room next to the other board to space it apart a little bit, and it just went super fast that way. Sorry, my phone just died, so the time lapse just stopped. So it was time to start prepping my material. I started with the skirt boards. I just used the old skirt boards as a guide, so I just traced them onto my new material and then cut them out. I figured that was going to be the best way. I didn't have to worry about any angles or any lengths or anything like that, and they would just go back in the same way that they came out. Once I was finished sanding and staining my skirt boards there, I moved on to the risers. I'm using a 1x8 material, and it's just pine that I bought from Lowe's, and they're not perfect boards, so I definitely had to give them a good sand before I decided to put any paint on them. And I knew they were going to take a couple coats of paint before I put my final product on, the General Finishes white poly, which is awesome. So I decided just to use a couple coats of just some crap white paint that I had laying around in the shop. I figured that if I put a couple coats of those on before I put my final product on, that it would cover all any imperfections and it would look all right. But I think I was wrong. All right, so I've been painting these riser boards for the whole week. I have like 3 or 4 coats of paint on these things. And I don't even know if you can see, but the knots still are not covering. The knots are still bleeding through, and it's getting really annoying. And I mentioned it today at work, and of course, I should have just done what I always do, and that's ask Jamie, because he knows everything. So, of course, he told me to buy this bin primer. He said that this is the only thing that will cover these knots. It's shellac based, and a coat of this, he said, will cover the knots, give it a little sand, and then I can put my final coat of the white poly on top. So I'm going to do one more coat of this, and then I'll be done, hopefully. After 3 coats of white paint, a coat of the bin primer, and a coat of the General Finishes white poly, I think these things turned out fantastic. The worst part is that Stephanie won't even appreciate all my hard work on those risers. All she cares about are these boards with the stain on it, which took about 1 coat and about 2 minutes. Good morning. It is Saturday, and it is nasty outside. We were back at the Stair Makeover, and today we're going to actually start doing some install. We have a huge day. I got Stephanie helping me today. We got risers going in. We got skirt boards going in, and if we get done with that, we might even get to some treads, but I don't know. We'll see how today goes. So let's get at this thing. I'm not always the sharpest tool in this shed, so I did number all these treads just so that when we cut the real treads, we'll number those and we'll know where they go. I will grab a stud finder, but one thing I did notice too is that I can tell where all the spots where old Willie nailed in that old skirt board. So all I did is I just marked it on the old risers or old treads where the studs are. That way I don't even have to think. I just bang, bang, bang. One thing I did do is I went with a wider skirt board. I went with a 1x12 instead of a 1x10. And the reason why is I wanted it to cover any imperfections in the drywall from where I took the old one out. I didn't want to have to repair all the drywall before I put the skirt board in. So with that being said, it did not lay in there exactly like the old one. So it did take a little bit of some modification to get it to look right. Alrighty, skirt boards are in. It was kind of a pain, but what I did is I just measured off the nose here up on an angle to get the same height. Again, I don't know, Willie framed this house. I don't know if the stairs were even cut the right size or whatever. So I just kind of got an average off the nose just to make sure that it would look good. So I think it looks awesome. Steph just said she loves the color, so far we're doing good. Next we need to do is we need to do the risers. So we have all that wood that we prepped. And what we're gonna do, you have a glue gun? A hot glue gun?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay, so.
For what though?
Well, what we're gonna do is I have Jono's Stair Wizard. If you want to take a look at that stuff, that thing works pretty great, and it works really well for doing the treads. But I don't know if it's going to work for doing the risers. So a trick I've seen Jamie do is just take 2 scraps of wood. And because we want to make sure that the riser goes tight against the skirt board. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 pieces of wood and we're going to go like that. And we're just going to stick them in the corners like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of wood and we're going to take hot glue and we're going to hot glue gun them like that. And that'll give us the angle if it's not square. And then what we'll do is we'll just take this piece, go outside, set it on our piece of material, take a fine pencil, score it, and then cut it, and then it should fit perfect. All right, we got a full family operation going here. We got Nana on the camera, me and Steph doing the work here. So again, we're gonna put a little dab of glue there on the end of this board. Right here, on the end of this one. A little dab of glue. We're gonna hold that in place. And Steph, if you could hold that right there. Okay, and then we're gonna do another. How's this thing work?
Just push the trigger.
You coming out? Oh yeah. And do another little dab of glue there. Put that on there. Hold it for a second. How long does it take to? You don't know? I thought this was your expertise.
I think I used it 5 years ago.
Oh, that's it. It's good. Okay, let go. Let go. Alrighty. So that should be our piece. Alright, so all we're going to do is we're going to take this now and we're going to put it on our piece. I'm going to flush the bottoms, like so. Put some pressure on there. I have a super sharp pencil there. I'm just going to do a nice little scribe there. Nice little scribe there. And that should be my piece. I don't know, dude. All right, so I'm going to cut this, I guess. I don't know if you should film me cutting it. Let's just shut the camera off. I'll cut it, and then we'll see if it fits. Okay, we got one cut. Only like 13 more to do. Oh. It's not terrible. It looks all right. I do think I'm going to get my chop saw out. Even though these aren't going to be 100% square, I think I can finagle it a little bit to cut it. I think it'll just make a cleaner cut. And my saw was kind of scratching the face, so I just think it's going to be easier as much as I don't want to bring the chop saw up. So I'm going to install this first one, and I am going to put a little Lexel on the back of these just to help it adhere to that plywood, just to give it some extra sturdybility and no chance of it squeaking or moving or anything. So I'll shoot a little Lexel down on here. Okay, and then we'll put our first one up. There we go. One thing I want to make sure I don't do is I don't want this to be proud of that sub stair tread, just because if it's proud, the new one's not going to sit flush. So, and it doesn't matter if there's a gap on the bottom because that stair tread is going to cover that. So I'm just going to make sure that it's flush or somewhat close to being flush there. And then I'm going to shoot it. We will go back and fill these holes, and I'm going to have to touch up some paint and some poly on these once we're all done, but let's get at it. So we know that these are not going to be square, so as you can see, what I do is I just get a little bit of the blade started on my line. See, I can tell here that it's good there, but I'm tracking off my line a little bit there. So what I'm going to do is make a slight adjustment on my board and then bring it back down, and it's been working really well. It's been way easier than using the hand saw because I was scratching it and it's not straight. So I've been doing this, having to make a couple modifications here and there, but for the most part, I think it looks fantastic. As long as you think it looks good, that's all that matters. So all I'm gonna do is make a slight adjustment here, like so. Also got my palm sander out here just because sometimes maybe the end's a little flared or something's not perfect. So if I just take that and kind of run it, and what I do is kind of back bevel it a little bit. You know, I can kind of hit it on an angle because you're not going to see this back here as long as the face is good. So I can take some of that off just to make sure it goes in nice and tight. So it's almost like I know what I'm doing. I'm up here at the top, and I'm trying to figure out how this is all going to go together. So my riser, if I just put that on, would go like that, and it would stick out a little bit. And I'm going to have to put some type of coping or something over the top. So it's really hard for me to say, but my beautiful wife had a wonderful idea that what we'll do is we'll just rip these two pieces of flooring out. I'll put the skirt board up flat like that. Sorry, I meant to say riser, not skirt board. Like that, and then I'll take a piece of tread material that I have that matches that, and I'll just put one piece flush to here, out past with an inch, and just make it like a little mini stair. I think that'll look better than piecing all this junk together. Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Stephanie just said I was the best carpenter she's ever seen.
I didn't say that. I said the stairs look good.
Yeah, what same thing. All right, so I ripped these other two oak treads off. Got some old deck material kind of pieced in here. So we're gonna eliminate that because it's got glue and crap on it too. So we're gonna eliminate that and put some nice solid material down for our sub tread. Yeah, sub tread we call it. And then, and that way we'll be ready to put our risers on and put our real treads on. So let's get rid of that and put some good material down. Alice!
What?
Where are you at?
Right here.
Dude, you need to follow me around all the time with that camera. Like, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. Like, you can't skip a beat, dude.
What, so I'm just supposed to follow you around like a little puppy?
Yeah, like Ellie, like right at your heels the whole time, right there, for when I need you.
Mm-hmm.
You got the shot?
I got it. I got it.
Okay. They don't teach you that move in carpenter school, you know, because the back of my board was sliding around. So you just do the little side saddle on it, keeps it in place. You probably didn't even know I had that move, did you? You can't say that.
Are you happy with the sturtability of that?
I hope so. I should have put some Lexel down. I don't know why I didn't. I totally forgot about it, but I nailed that down. I don't feel like ripping it all out. So I just threw a bunch of extra nails in there, so... I don't ever walk up the
Hey,
stairs.
you have a spectator. Did you notice that?
Ah! Hey, Santa. If he starts making fun of my work, he's out of here. I'm going to throw him in the yard.
Hey, what'd you just say?
I said, I really don't know what I'm doing. This is usually Arlen's job. He always does the skirt boards, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So, this was a cutoff from one of those. So I'm thinking that the angle's probably the same. I mean, if old Fast Willie built this thing anywhere how it's supposed to be built, the angle's probably the same. So I just need to find out my height here. I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, get that camera off me now. I don't think that's right.
Sorry, did I miss anything?
No, I just...
I'm sorry, I had to take a bathroom break, boss.
No.
No bathroom breaks?
No, definitely not. Who needs Arlo? I can get a 3-foot piece of skirt board put in anytime. No, on a serious note, I did get that thing put in, and you can tell though that it does go up into where the window trim is going to be. So I will have to buzzsaw that out when I do the window trim, but I think it's gonna look just fine. So let's get these risers finished up and get working on those treads.
That looks so good. That looks so much better than that.
That's what it used to be.
I know.
That is so ugly.
That is ugly. This looks so much nicer.
Yeah.
Good job, dear.
Thanks, babe. So typically we would just put these in and then come back and stain them all after the fact. But my wife really wants to see what it's going to look like with the skirt board and the risers. So we did one, we cut it down, got it to length, and I stained it real quick. So we're going to stick it in here and see what she looks like.
So much better.
I mean, that looks pretty ballin'.
Yeah, it does. That's definitely my favorite stain color.
Yeah. What is it?
Special walnut.
Well, we ran out of hot glue, so we went to a different technique. I just ripped down some material thin enough for the stapler to go through it. I just took a couple boards, put them up against the skirt board, stapled the thin material to them, and then we'll just use this for our angle on the treads. So as you can see, I'm taking numbers. So this one's 10 and 5/16. That one's 10 and 7/16. I want to add an inch for my overhang, but I don't want to cut that in the back with a handsaw because it's just going to look like crap. So what I'm doing is I'm just going with the longer number, 10 and 7. I'm just going to rip on the table saw. That way when you stick it in there, there's going to be an 1/8 difference, but nobody ain't ever going to see it. And that way the back will be a nice, clean, straight cut, jammed up against that riser, and it'll look way better. Stephanie likes to work very efficiently, so we got a pretty good system going on where I was going inside and getting the angle for all the treads and getting the width of all the treads. And then I was coming out, ripping them down to width, using my jig to get the angle of each one, making sure that I number them so I know which one goes where. And then I was giving them to Stephanie, and she was then sanding them down and staining each one. By the time she was done staining all of them, the first one that we had done was ready to go in. So we just went ahead and started banging them in. All my angles seemed to work good. I did not test any of them, but most of them were actually pretty good. So we got them put in, and Stephanie loves it.
You okay?
I don't know if I like working for you. Man, you make me work harder than the Perkins do. Holy crap.
I'm sorry, but you did an amazing job.
Yeah, we did a lot today.
Yeah, we did.
We got the skirt boards on, all the risers on, and all of the treads on this upper half, except for the little one up there. So next is hit this landing, finish up the treads down here, and then put our newel post in, and then figure out what we're going to do for our railing in there. But I think it looks awesome.
I do too.
Hey, good job.
Good job.